Y'all want more Beauty in Black? Well, this is the last part of Season 2 before we have to wait for Season 3 to drop. And we know how hard Tyler Perry works on these shows. All spiteful, Kimmy, Rain, and Mallory discuss how they're going to take the Bellarie family down. All of them, except Horace. But they're not forgetting that their main target is Jules. You see, Jules is a dangerous man and wants revenge for his dead son. Mallory assures them that attorney Varney can be trusted, but Kimmy is having doubts because Varney no longer eats Charles's lollipop. Meanwhile, last episode, attorney Varney successfully evades Traxon. Traxon knows that Jules will be furious if he finds out that the girl got away. Alex pretends he's frustrated too, and even volunteers to spy on Kimmy just in case she knows something. But right after talking to Traxon, Alex gives instructions to Varney on what to do next. He even tells the attorney that they'll be safest in the main house where Kimmy lives. In the middle of their discussion, Mallory calls Varney and learns that Alex helped him escape. She's not sure whether to trust Alex or not, but Rain assures her that Alex is on their side. Then they all agree to meet at the main house. Roy is still busy snorting baby powder with Felicia, even though his wife is just in the other room. Suddenly, Mallory barges in and pours some boiling coffee on the two lovers. Most of it got on poor Felicia. When Roy tries fighting back, Kimmy and Rain jump in to help Mallory. Mallory slaps him. Then Kimmy hits his head with glass. Unluckily, Alex is there to stop them. After stopping the fight, he takes all three women to the main house. Meanwhile, Angel doesn't know how to take his broken car home. He calls the towing services, but they refuse to help him when his credit card is declined. Running out of options, Angel calls the butler, James. But even James is not allowed to help him as per Horace's orders. However, James feels sorry for Angel, so he tells him what to do to get the car back in good condition. Just then, Traxon arrives and offers to take Angel home. However, he can't help but ask why Angel is allowed to live in Horace's mansion. On top of that, Angel addresses Horace by his first name when all the staff address him as Mr. Bellarie. Angel doesn't disclose that he was giving Horace lap dances. Meanwhile, Norman is hell-bent on finding out if Mallory really killed his wife. He finds Jules in the hospital and presses him for an answer. Jules keeps warning him that it's not the right time to talk about such matters because his son just died. But Norman wants to get his way, causing Jules to snap and karate chops his neck. Jules exclaims that he's finally reached his limit. But to Norman, Jules has finally crossed a line. While Olivia is at the hospital, she receives a video from Horace. It's the security footage of her admitting to orchestrating the robbery of Charles and Horace's houses. When Horace finally calls, he promises to teach Olivia a lesson because of what she did. Olivia says the video is fake.
You're too old to know about AI.
But Olivia gets fooled on Facebook on the daily. Olivia tries to act tough, but Horace already knows that she's in trouble. Charles mentioned the debt she owed and how she only has until Friday to pay it back. Unfortunately for Olivia, Charles doesn't have the money. Olivia warns Horace that if she goes down, she'll take Charles with her. Meanwhile, Roy heads to Charles's house to stay with him. He tells his brother about his affair with Felicia and how Mallory tried to kill them twice.
Like, bye, Felicia?
On top of that, Roy is worried that Mallory will make him get a drug test. So Charles warns him that if the test comes back positive, his shares will be diluted and he will get kicked out of the will. Mallory, on the other hand, will get to keep hers. When Angel arrives at the main house, he finds Adeline, Evan, and attorney Varney there. He demands an explanation, but no one can give him one. It turns out that Adeline and Angel were a thing for a while, and Evan was against it. Mallory is still questioning Alex's loyalty, so Rain explains that Alex has already proven himself multiple times. All of them are on good terms now after beating up Felicia together. Mallory is worried that Felicia will file a case against her, and having a felony on her record will get her kicked out of the will. So Rain and Kimmy assure Mallory that they won't snitch. I love that this trio are working together. After the fight with Jules, Norman confides in Olivia. But instead of consoling him, Olivia starts to mock his dead wife and tells him to move on.
Bitch, I will break your other leg.
Olivia says she just wants to retire and live the rest of her life in peace. To annoy Norman even more, Olivia says that maybe Mallory really did kill his wife. Norman snaps and twists Olivia's broken leg while she lays there helpless and screaming for help. After seeing Evan, Angel calls Horace and begs for one more chance. He thinks Evan will replace him, so he promises Horace that he'll do better. But Horace doesn't even know what he's talking about. Angel gets on his knees saying he'll get on his knees when Horace returns, but Horace just ends the call. Charles finally shows Roy the footage of their mother admitting to the robberies. Charles knows that if his father dies, there's no one out there that can stop their mother from getting out of control. Despite all the problems, Roy still has the time to enjoy himself. He invites 2 women over to sandwich him, leaving Charles alone and trying to find solutions to their problems. When Kimmy's group arrives at the main house, they finally see Adeline and Evan. Adeline is frightened when she sees Alex, so Rain assures her that Alex is not going to hurt her. Unfortunately for Kimmy, when she checks on her sister, she finds a dry Oz wig instead of Sylvie. Jules visits his ex-wife to share the news about Glenn's death. When the door opens, Jules sees men drinking and drugs being repackaged. He confronts his ex, asking if Glenn lived like that when he was a kid. Then he finally tells her that their son died. But his ex doesn't even care at all. She doesn't even ask what happened to Glenn. Instead, she tells Jules to leave because her boyfriend is getting angry. When Jules checks his voicemail, he gets one from Roy telling him to get rid of Rain, Sylvie, and Angel. There's also one from the clerk telling him that there's a delay in filing the will, but it was fixed right away, and the will is already filed. The last one is from his daughter asking him to come home. His daughter's voice reminds Jules that family matters to him the most. He grabs a gun and kills everyone inside his ex's house. Kimmy panics after learning that Sylvie has been missing the whole day. She knows that the girl wanted to visit Glenn at the hospital. Kimmy is worried that Jules will take her sister just to get back at her. With Mallory's help, they're able to confirm that Sylvie did go to Stanley Hart Hospital. They find out that Jules' son died, so they know that Jules is looking for someone to blame. With Alex's help, they manage to track Sylvie's phone and learn that she's not that far from the main house. It turns out that Sylvie has been at the back of Jules' car all this time. Jules decides to finally let her go, but makes her promise not to tell anyone what happened. Jules promises that if anyone finds out, he'll kill both Sylvie and Kimmy himself. Then he returns Sylvie's phone to her and let her go home. When Sylvie sees Kimmy, she's both frightened and relieved. She can't say anything other than she went to the hospital to visit Glenn. Kimmy even starts to scold her sister, so Sylvie just runs to the house to avoid her. Afterward, attorney Varney tells everyone that the money from the shell companies is being laundered straight to the clubs. The names he found are Jules and Norman's. Unfortunately, Roy has put the companies under Mallory's name without her consent. Mallory insists that she wasn't aware of the money laundering and that she didn't make any money from the club. Varney believes her and adds that all the money goes to an account with the name John Shermanway. Kimmy knows that it's Roy's alias, so they've come to the conclusion that he's involved after all. Rain is initially suspicious of Mallory, but it all becomes clear that Mallory is telling the truth. Varney warns Mallory that she'll lose all her shares if Roy gets in trouble, so Kimmy suggests that they don't go after Roy directly. Then she tells attorney Varney to call an emergency meeting for the shareholders the next day. Because they have to ensure everyone's safety, Varney, Adeline, and Evan are all going to sleep at the main house. Angel doesn't want that, but he can't go against Kimmy's decision. Mallory volunteers to stay at a hotel, and she requests Alex to drive her there. However, on their way to the hotel, Mallory orders Alex to take her to his apartment. Alex reveals that he knows about Mallory and Calvin's affair, and he even shows off the video that Calvin sent him. He tells Mallory that she deserves someone better than her husband.
Well, the ones that treat you better are broke like you. So you have any more fortune cookies up there?
Mallory doesn't hold back anymore and tells Alex to get in the back seat and give his egg roll to her. Meanwhile, Sylvie finally tells Kimmy that she doesn't want to stay in that house anymore. She wants to move far away and go to college. After receiving Varney's email, Charles reminds Roy that they all have to be at the meeting or they will lose a portion of their shares. Even Olivia calls Norman, complaining about the meeting. She's still in the hospital, so she's worried she can't make it. But Norman has bigger plans in mind. He's convinced that Mallory did kill his wife. He admits that he loved Mallory, so he wants to make her and Jules suffer since they both have been lying to him. The next day, Jules arrives early for the meeting. He already knows that Alex is not on their side, so he orders Traxon to get Alex for him. When Olivia arrives, she gets into an argument with the taxi driver and calls her names.
Well, you better count your days, Kanifa. You count your days.
Shanika, Walika,
I got you here, man.
Paprika.
To everyone's surprise, Horace arrives to join the shareholders meeting. Kimmy starts off by showing the list of illegal drugs in Roy's system the past 90 days. They were able to test him using his hair. Because Roy is an addict, it has been decided that his shares will be forfeited until he successfully completes a rehabilitation program. As for Charles, his shares will be frozen because he is under criminal investigation for the disappearance of 3 men. Charles pretends not to know any of this, but Kimmy promises he'll get his shares back once he's cleared. As for Olivia, her shares will also be frozen after they discovered that she's been stealing from the company through some fake businesses. Norman is also caught stealing and laundering the company's money and using the funds to run his clubs. Kimmy also reveals that Jules trafficked 94 individuals, including her, but this doesn't faze Norman. He warns everyone that if he goes down, he'll take them with him. He explains that he's entangled the company in all his illegal activities, making it a criminal operation. After hearing this, Horace tells Kimmy they can't go after Norman at all. Because of Horace backing down, Roy gets the courage to keep talking. Roy says Varney has been giving Charles back shots. Norman further explains that the company has been receiving kickbacks from all his side businesses, and there's no way to say where they're all coming from. Just then, FBI agents walk in. It turns out that Horace has planned everything with Kimmy and Mallory, and they have turned all the evidence over to the authorities.
Welcome to prison.
Charles is frightened, and he tries asking Varney for help, but Varney ignores him and walks out of the room. The way I'm kinda just whatever after that season finale. They can all go to prison for all I care, because Tyler Perry needs to put more effort in tying these stories up. You can't tell me that Jules just forgot about his son dying after all that buildup. He did absolutely nothing. I need the creators to pack it up and give us something new. What did you guys think of this, and will you be watching season 3?
Did you guys enjoy that one? Make sure to subscribe and keep watching for more. I won't judge. You can click here or here.